Cory, enemy reinforcements have arrived.
If you're enjoying these videos, make sure you head over to our YouTube at Inside the Game and hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos.
Cory, you and I checked out Red Wings Aces of the Skies over on the Nintendo Switch. This was kind of presented to us like a Crimson Skies experience. I guess it was close. Not quite, but I still had a pretty good time. What did you think of this one?
You know what? I think you nailed it. I think when you told me about this game, I was like, "Ooh, like yeah. Crimson Sky vibes." Like whenever you hear about a game like this, you just kind of always reference Crimson Skies, and I think everybody does because that game was just so good. It was the ultimate dogfighting plane game. Like it was just so good. So it's kind of the bar's always been set with that, right? So we get Red Wings Aces of the Sky on the Switch, and it definitely feels like a Switch title. You know, it is a little cartoony. There's some comic book, you know, a cutscene playthrough stuff that you kind of get through, and it's all cool, and I really enjoyed it. Some of the voice acting is a little like over the top for my liking, but other than that, I think it was still well done. It was a lot of times in Switch games you don't get that much voice acting or that much kind of extra, you know, little bit of features in the game. So that was kind of nice off the bat when I got into the campaign. But I found this game to be like the controls were they're simple enough to learn, but I felt like when I was flying the planes and I was, you know, shooting things down, I just kind of felt like I wasn't completely connected to the plane. You know what I mean? Like I'm flying it, but it just in game, it just feels like I'm not really getting that kind of immersive experience. I guess that's probably what I'm going with here. And I tried playing with headphones and stuff like that, right? Just to try to switch it up. And for me, it just was like, I did enjoy it. I had fun, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like I could have had more fun.
So you played in handheld mode? Is that what you did?
Yes.
Okay, so I played on the big screen. I wanted to kind of blow it up and see how it looked on the big screen. Honestly, graphically, I thought it was cool. I like the art style. It had a nice style and smooth. Yeah, the textures were cool. Like, it was just going through the clouds, I thought was really an interesting take, because when you're hunting down the enemies and you're dogfighting with these guys, you go through the clouds and you'll just lose all sight, which kind of makes a lot of sense in the presence when you're doing this. But I thought it was cool that they paid attention to details like that. And then the art style, I thought, was just that, like you said, the comic book-esque feel. And they brought it right into the game itself. But as far as the controls go, I didn't seem to have any major issues. There were a few times, because it is a plane, you know, you're up and down are a little bit different than what you're used to. So I had to kind of adjust for that because I forgot. I'm like, it's been a while since I played a game like this. So it took me a bit to understand again and kind of get the rhythm of it. But I found sometimes my guns were just a little off. Instead, like it would hover over, but I still kind of miss in the shooting mechanic of it a bit. But my biggest struggle with the game is the fact with what I kind of opened up with was enemy reinforcements have arrived, because that's all you hear throughout this entire game is that more enemies are there and more enemies are coming. And it's just that rinse and repeat, and the voice acting is also the rinse and repeat within the actual game itself.
Yeah.
And that is where the experience kind of lulls a little bit. You are able to upgrade certain abilities, but those abilities get like a level 1, a level 2, and a level 3. They don't kind of upgrade to the fact that when you upgrade your cooldown, for example, right? So your gun can overheat, but if you upgrade that, then you withstand 10% less reduction or 10% more, right? So you know what I mean. But at the same time, they don't enhance that past that. You go from 10% to 25% to 50% cooldown. So I'm like, well, what's the like? Big deal. I thought it was just light on the upgrades, right? There's nothing special to say, oh, cool, I need to get to that next upgrade. And since we're talking about upgrades, Cory, the way you upgrade is by earning stars. And earning stars in this game are an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, you know what? like, I'm just gonna say real quick that, like, I agree with you that there's a lot of great things about this game, but when it comes to the upgrading, it's definitely like, at first I was kind of, I was pleasantly surprised to see how the upgrade menu was kind of like laid out and how we get the stars. And I was like, okay, so your performance base is what you get your 3-star rating out of, and your stars are basically your currency for those upgrades. And I was like, all right, cool. And then you get into the detail of start looking at some of these upgrades, and you're like, oh, okay, well, like, is this really worth it, or should I really be looking at it and upgrading this instead of this? But then the problem is you also got to spend these stars, and these things don't cost little stars. We're talking 3 stars for the cheapest, and I feel like I'm playing 3-star rounds here on some of these missions, and I'm getting 1-2 stars. And I know some of it's timing based, but like, man, it's not necessarily easy to get that 3-star rating.
No, not at all. This is one of the worst upgrade systems I think I've seen in a game in a long time. To get that 3-star rating sometimes is really almost impossible. There was one I saw, I finished it in 4 minutes. To get 3 stars, you needed to finish it in 1 minute and 10 seconds. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
I can't even turn the plane around fast enough to get the first wave enemies.
Not at all. So the lot of the gameplay, though, besides just being this unachievable star rating, is that you go out and you blow up balloons, you then do another dogfight, and then you do another dogfight, but it's just this rinse and repeat. And they changed it up with, you can go in these bombing airplanes, and the bombing mechanic within these things, Cory, was just not what I was looking for. It was really lackluster. The control of the plane was awkward. It didn't feel like you were actually controlling the plane per se. You were dropping bombs, I thought, which was a nice change of pace, I guess, but it just didn't feel right, and disconnected again. And then you're getting shot at, and when you're getting shot at, you can't even maneuver quick enough to get out of the way half the time. While your plane's getting nailed. So I was just like, man, this whole level section, didn't want it compared to what I was playing in the other rest of the game, because the dogfighting for me was a fun time. I had a good time, and it was fun experience doing that dogfight, but it just rinse and repeat with more levels and a little bit of story to kind of break up the levels.
Yeah, no, you know what? I hear you there. And, I'm going to say one good thing I liked about this game, one mechanic that playing other kind of dogfight simulator, playing games like this before, is that you have this kind of quick action feature with your 4 buttons. And I thought that was pretty cool. And you kind of build up your skill points throughout the match, and then you can execute certain moves like a barrel roll, or there's the quick turnaround. There's the execution, which I thought was really cool. When you get one of your enemy planes down real low, it'll prompt a little skull above it, and if you press that X button, it'll be a little cinematic that plays where your guy pulls out a pistol and he shoots the guy, and it's like, oh man, like, it's over the top, but it's fun, and it looked really good. They did a good job with it, and like that kind of stuff makes a game like this really fun. And because of the control aspect of it, you got the joysticks, you're not in total full control, right? It's not a full-on simulator, so there is some assist there, so it's nice to be able to have these buttons that allow you to kind of do some of these maneuvers that you can't really pull off on your own.
Well, Cory, I think our dogfighting days are over. What do you score in this one?
Well, you know what? I was really into the whole art style, the comic book kind of feel when you first get into the story mode. I like the fact that you can play co-op split screen. I know we didn't really talk about that too much. It's pretty basic, but it's also there. It's nice to have that. And you know what? Overall, there's a lot of missions in this game. It might be a lot of the same, but if you do find yourself enjoying these missions, you've got a ton of game to play here. So you know what? I got to give this one a 7.5.
You're a bit higher than I am. I do appreciate that the missions aren't that long as well. You're able to jump in and jump out if you wanted to, or you can stick around for a long time, right? I had a good time playing it, but it was a lot of rinse and repeat, and some of the controls were just a little funky at times. So I'm there with a 6.5.
Red Wings is a fun dogfight simulator with easy to learn controls and a ton of missions to play through with or without friends locally. There's a lot to like, but some of the voiceover became pretty repetitive after a while.